Go turn that down. Yeah. What's up, y'all? Well, I can't say it was a manic Monday or a migraine Monday or any of that. Because today's actually Tuesday. Yeah. First day back to work after a long weekend. 3-day weekend. I like those. But then again, you know, they like to 3-day weekends are kind of rough. It's like, you know, you look forward to getting off work all week and then having like some time off. And you get that time off and you sit at home and you go, damn, how am I going to occupy my time all weekend? I mean, I found shit to do, but like yesterday I was like, damn, I sure can't wait to go back to work tomorrow so I can fucking keep myself busy. I guess because I'm like the world's worst procrastinator, you know, and it's when you got a couple of days off and you're like, I can wait till tomorrow, and then, you know, tomorrow comes and then, well, you're shit out of luck because you don't get shit done, you know. That's right. So I'm doing my Monday video on Tuesday today. I don't know how good of a video it's going to be today. I'm kind of tired though. Of course, that's what happens when you get an extra day off. You get a little lazy. Of course, then again, I'm lazy all the time, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how lazy I am or when I'm lazy. I'm lazy all the time. There we go. Yeah. All right, this fool turned it in, so I'm going to make my turn. Anyway, it's a nice day. It didn't start getting hot until after lunchtime. You know, the weather's been kind of nice here the past week or so. It's been real nice. Not like cold, like bearable, you know what I mean? When you get temperatures that are like in the 90s forever, and then you start getting these, you know, 75, 80, 85 degree days. It feels a little better. It makes you a little more energetic, but I had too much energy this morning. I had a big old cup of coffee this morning. And shoot, by 10 o'clock I was burnt out. All right, what you waiting on? Lights yellow, let's go. Let's go. Hey! Yeah. I guess we'll just sit here on yellow. Thanks a lot, moron. No, I didn't make the light. What a dumbwit. Probably a woman driver. Or one of the foreigners from God only knows where. You know, they don't know how to drive for shit anyway. They don't have cars where some of those people are from, believe it or not. Those third world shithole countries, you know, those kind, yeah. All right. Anyway, so I'm on my way home. I didn't have a whole lot to do today. I got a few I can get started on in the morning to keep me busy at least part of the day. I think I inspected like, I don't know, 5 or 6 vehicles today, which was, you know, I kind of plan it that way. You know, I always leave like at the end of the week, I always leave like a few extra vehicles to inspect in my lane. I try and get out everything that needs to go out for the week and concentrate on that first. And then once I get those done, then I start, you know, doing paperwork and shit and getting everything ready for the next week. But I try and leave myself something to do so, you know, I don't have a Monday where I'm sitting around for half a day doing nothing. Or in this case, Tuesday. You know, I guess nobody's going to stop and stay. Everybody's just going to come check me out for a minute and take off. Of course, that's usually the way it works anyway. I don't have a lot of viewers. I mean, I think I got up to like 15 the other day. That was pretty cool. That was like a monumental achievement for me on my channel. Yeah. I'd like to have a few more subscribers. You know, my goal is 600. I think I've got like 552 or something like that, 553 now. But I need some more. I would go. It's nothing. You know, I don't really care about like all the money and everything, because I do this for just my own enjoyment more than anything else. So I go like I do like goals. You know, like my first goal was 100, and I got 100 subscribers. Then my goal was like 150, so I got 150. Then it was 200, then 300, and then 400, 500. So now my goal is 600 subscribers, and it's just a personal goal. You know, now I know that my success with my channel depends on the people who are subscribing to my channel, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? It's like, because people come in and they might not like what I talk about. They might not think I'm pretty. You know, and that's okay. You know, but I'd like to, you know, at least have them subscribe, because I post some pretty cool shit. I don't know if you guys saw any of my videos from the weekend. I went to a steampunk festival up in a place called Hannibal, Missouri. And it's something they do every year. And I did a video and I talked a little bit about it. Some of you may have missed it. Some of you may have not even watched the video. So what it is they do this. This is like the 11th year this has been I think, up in Hannibal. So it's almost like a big cosplay fest, you know. People in like medieval clothing and swashbucklers and pirates and, you know, all kinds of neat shit like that. And they all get together and they sell merchandise, and they have, you know, like folk artists come in, and they, you know, they have these quirky little contests, and they got street magicians, food from, you know, all over the place. A lot of the food's really good though. It's really creative, and a lot of these people are you know, really creative with the things that they do, and they have like authors that come out that have written books and autographs and things like that. Then they have a parade, and you have like sword fighting, like swashbucklers, sword fighting. You've got not real swords, of course, but you know what I mean. Then they've got like steampunk burlesque, and I mean just all kinds of different activities that are really cool. But you know, it's free. I mean, you go and you walk up and down these streets, and you got all these vendors, you know, with like art, crafts, clothing, you know, action figures. I mean, just, you know, all kinds of neat shit. There was one guy that had a tent full of like, well, I guess they were plastic, like futuristic plastic guns, like something you would see probably in, oh, I don't know, like Mad Max, you know what I mean? Some of those weapons like that. And some of that shit was really cool, you know. But they're Nerf. They shoot like Nerf pieces and stuff. And so that was pretty cool. And then, of course, you got the riverboat up there. We didn't actually go on the riverboat this time. A few years ago, we did take a riverboat trip. That was pretty cool. It lasted about an hour or so. And we just made like a big circle. It's on the Mississippi River up in Hannibal. And like, it was pretty inexpensive. And, you know, it's a guy talking to you on the microphone. And, you know, Mark Twain was from up in that area, so he tells you a little bit about Mark Twain and some of his adventures and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, good shit. Well, this year I decided I was going to go up and see the lighthouse, because the last time we were there, I didn't get to see the lighthouse. The lighthouse is up on a hill, and there's 200, I think my mom said it was like 2 something like that. And I went up 244 steps, and it's a pretty steep incline. And I went up to the top and took a few pictures of the thing, and I shot a couple of videos. Well, I shot like a 7-minute video of me walking back down the stairs. So if you guys get a chance, go check it out. It's pretty cool. You can see all, like a lot of the nature and stuff, like trees. And I think there was some apples, like an apple tree up there as you're coming down. There was a memorial there that was a veterans memorial for, people, I guess, from that county or that area that lost their lives in, Vietnam or World War I, World War II, Korea. I mean, just, all those different American wars that, unfortunately, we sent people to and lost. But regardless, it's really cool. It's a good time. And they always do it like Labor Day weekend. So I'm looking forward to next year already. Because I want to do some stuff up there. I'd like to take one of my awnings. I got like a 10 by 10 awning. I'd like to take that thing up there. Put up some of my mom used to have these gnomes. They're inside gnomes. They're made out of, hell, I don't know what the hell they're made out of. They're like resin, I guess, or resin characters. And they're hand painted, and they're numbered, and they've got these explanation cards and letters of certificates of authenticity and all that good stuff. So thinking about, man, that would be really cool to take those things, because they're just taking up space in my house, and they've been in boxes in my basement forever now, and I can take those things up there and sell them. I'm sure they'd sell good, especially looking at some of the prices, like a hat, for instance, a steampunk hat, that just has like a few chains and gears and pulleys and shit, glued on it. It was like $40. Excuse me, working class, you know how it goes. But anyway, so it was a good time. But like I said, some of those things are really expensive. Even like little trinkets and stuff were really expensive. There's all kinds of jewelry and necklaces and t-shirts, bandanas, and just anything and everything you could think of that would have to do with any kind of like steampunk, designer wear, or whatever they want to call it. To me, it's designer wear because it's specific to a group of people. But and some of these people go all out. It's really neat to see how imaginative or creative these people are with these things that they wear and their style. It's really neat. But anyway, so that was what I did Saturday. We went a scenic route. We went Highway 79 out of I guess it's St. Peters, Missouri. Yeah, St. Peters. And Highway 79 kind of takes you on a scenic route. So there's a lot of hills, a lot of curves and stuff like that. But once you get along like the river, the Mississippi River, there's like a lot of bluffs and overlooks and stuff. And there's a lot of farmland out there and some pretty interesting things to see. Stuff that I don't normally see on a regular basis. I guess part of that's because I don't live in North Carolina anymore. Where rural areas you see a lot of cows and stuff, but I lived kind of close to a rural area in North Carolina, and so it wasn't much for me to look out the front door and see cows in the pasture across the road. You know what I mean? So you got to see a lot of that kind of stuff. And then these little small towns, they have like one, maybe two stoplights, and you can tell the towns that are more established than the other ones because they've got a Casey's and a Dollar General, or a Casey's and a Family Dollar, or they got a Casey's and Family Dollar General. You know what I mean? So it's pretty neat to see like some of these little small towns still exist. I guess it's because of the way their zoning, laws and everything are. Either that, or like the older folks are there. They just, not many new people are coming in. You know what I mean? So it's so the infrastructure is such a bad as the old, what they would call the old days. there's a lot of, like trees over the road, like it looks like a tunnel, like you're going through a tunnel in a lot of places when you're going down this highway. Well, it's not really a highway because it's a two-lane road, but it's marked as like a state highway. And of course, you got, I think the top speed, posted speed limits on these roads are like, 50 miles an hour or something like that. But when you start getting close to the towns, they go down to, 30 and then 25 and then 20. There's a couple of places where the speed was like 20 miles an hour. And there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of curves, which I like. I love driving on curvy roads. Of course, I guess that comes from my time spent, out in the rural areas of North Carolina, kind of out in the country, where they have a lot of zigzag roads and things. And then I spent some time in the mountains of North Carolina back when I was young, and I have always looked forward to, the day when I would be able to drive and, actually take a car up there and drive some of those roads myself. Because some of those roads are really challenged. It's a real challenge to drive on. Like Highway 74 between Asheville and like Blowing Rock, for instance. I don't know if you guys remember hearing all the stuff about Blowing Rock in Asheville, during that, what was that, Hurricane Francis, or I don't know, one of the hurricanes went through that area anyway, and tore up a bunch of stuff and washed out like the town of Blowing Rock, and Chimney Rock, and so that road, it's like that road between Chimney Rock and Asheville is only 30 miles long, but it takes you an hour to drive it because of all the curves and slopes and the speed limit, especially going around the curves, is like 5 miles an hour, you know what I mean? Because if you go any further or any faster than that, you may just drive right off the side of the mountain and go down to the next level down on the road sideways or something. But I love driving on roads like that. It's such a challenge, and it really keeps your mind working, your focus. You can definitely, in the mountains of North Carolina, you definitely can't be playing on your phone and driving a car at the same time, especially on little mountain roads like that. That's Highway 74 that goes through there. And actually, Highway 74 goes all the way from one end of the state to the other in North Carolina. And it changes from Highway 74 to Interstate 74, I think just on the, just east of Rockingham, North Carolina. And I was really surprised because, I grew up down there, and like 74 was the main drag between Charlotte and the beaches. Curie Beach, Carolina Beach, Hilton Head Island, Ocracoke, and Ocracoke's kind of like north out on the Outer Banks, but I mean that's still the way, from Charlotte when I was a kid, that would be the way to go. Now if you wanted to go to like Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, then you would go down off of 74, Highway 74, just east of Monroe, North Carolina. You would go Highway 601 south, and head south and then east. Once you got into like Florence, South Carolina, that area. But getting back to what I was talking about, with those roads, being a real challenge to drive on, it's amazing, And I don't even really remember where I was going with this and why I was talking about the roads and stuff, but it keeps you focused, it keeps your mind going. It's a good way to, train yourself and your reflexes, especially. Really keep your reflexes on top shape. Because it's like as soon as you lean into one curve, you're leaning right into the next. So anyway, this is what I do on a Tuesday. I just babble on, especially when I've had a holiday on Monday. Oh, I know what I was talking about. I was talking about Highway 79 going over to Hannibal from St. Charles, Missouri, or St. Peters, Missouri. Talking about how pretty it was and stuff. It's a really nice area anyway. A lot of rural areas out there, little small towns. So I don't know where any of you guys are at. I guess, if you ever come to Missouri and you go to Hannibal via Highway 79, you'll see what I mean. Now coming back, it's not so bad because coming back we took Highway 61, which is like a four-lane road, pretty much the whole way. But it's speed limits are 60, 65 on that road, and there's not really a whole lot to see. You got some farms, off to the side, one side or the other, in some places, and then you don't really go through like any small towns. So you kind of miss that, the sightseeing part, you know what I mean? It's just kind of one of those, it is like you take a long trip and you're like, oh man, this is so boring, there's nothing to see. That's Highway 61 for you. So, and that's the reason I took Highway 79 on the way there, is because I wanted to see, somebody had told me, man, that's some beautiful country up through there. And I thought, that'd be cool to see some country and, go to Hannibal, and because Hannibal's like right on the river. And I think at one point in time, Hannibal, Missouri was like a big port depot for a lot of like river boats carrying supplies up and down the Mississippi River. Now I could be wrong, somebody can correct me if you like, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of the especially like the old historic buildings that are like right on the riverfront or close to the riverfront are there because they were like shipping depots for the river boats when they would go up and down, whether it be passengers or supplies or whatever. Look at this fucking moron. The guy cut from like 2 lanes over on my right, across 3 lanes into the turn lane, and then decided to cut in front of somebody else to go straight in the same lane I'm in. What a fucking moron. Now he's going to make a left. But anyway, people just piss me off. Why? And he's going to sit at a stoplight now. So he didn't want to sit at that stoplight back there, but he's going to sit at one now. Anyway, so, and then right across the river is a little place called Quincy, Illinois. Now, I don't really care for Illinois too much. I'm not a big fan of Illinois. And I think I don't think very many other people are very big fan of Illinois either. It seems like to me there's a big influx of like houses that are being sold in Illinois because, the taxes are so high there. Nobody wants to live there in a fucking Democrat-run state anyway. And that Pritzker, God, what a fucking moron he is. But, I'm not going to get into that. I don't really like talking about politics a whole lot, especially on my channel, because I know everybody talks about politics, and I don't want to be, one of those guys, you know what I mean? Zevia ginger ale. There's your plug for the day, Zevia. There's some good shit right here. It's all natural, naturally flavored, 0 sugar. I don't know what they sweeten this stuff. Let's see here. Carbonated water, natural flavors, citric acid, stevia instead of sugar, or that high fructose corn syrup bullshit. Your body doesn't know how to break that shit down, that high fructose corn syrup. And it seems like it's like in everything, but your body doesn't know how to break that shit down. So that's why you have, these kids running around that are 10 years old and weigh 300 pounds. You know what I mean? It's because they eat a lot of candy and shit that's got that high fructose corn syrup in it. And of course, their parents don't really keep them on any kind of diet or any kind of healthy eating regimen. So they get fat, And like when I moved to Missouri, let's see, I've been here 15 years now. So when I moved here to Missouri, now granted I didn't eat a whole lot and I didn't really watch what I was eating, but I had a high metabolism. And but I used to skip a lot of meals too. So when I moved to Missouri, I quit skipping meals altogether, and I started gaining weight. Well, then I quit smoking cigarettes, but and I did okay with keeping the weight off for a while as long as I was active. But as I got older, I mean, we are talking 15 years ago, so I was 41 years old, and at 41 years old, I weighed, I think it was like 152 pounds or something like that. I had a 29, 30-inch waist, something like that. So I was a little bitty guy. And here I am now, 15 years later, I'm put on 100 pounds. So I'm like 252 or something like that now. 255, I don't know. 260 maybe. I don't really weigh myself, but I feel fatter some days. You ever, when you go eat a good meal at a good restaurant, in the chair, your ass, it seems like it's hitting the chair a lot harder because you just ate all that food, and it's a little harder to push yourself out after one meal. Yeah, that's kind of like what I am right now. But I ate a lot of junk and shit, for many years, and I think that my metabolism slowed down, and then that high fructose corn syrup they put in fucking everything really kind of started packing my fat, so to speak. So I've noticed the difference too, like how I carry myself. I find myself at my age, I get around pretty well, but I still, I get winded a little bit every once in a while, like if I'm going up downstairs, or if I run, or if I do something that's real strenuous for any certain amount of time, I get a little winded. But I do all right. There's a lot of people out there a lot worse off than me, thank God. But I try to eat healthy now. I've got a lot of I don't have the wisdom, but the girl that I'm with, Dee, my fiance, I mean, my better half, my keeper. No, she's a really good lady anyway, but we've kind of gotten into eating like organic foods and things like that, because it's a lot healthier when you're using natural sweeteners. Like I don't use cane sugar anymore for my coffee. Excuse me, folks. Working class, as I said before. I don't use sugar at all anymore. I've gotten accustomed to using raw honey is what I use now to sweeten my coffee with, and anything else I'm drinking. Simply because it's better for you to not eat a lot of sugar and shit, because that stuff has a tendency to collect on your hips, if you know what I mean. But anyway, so all right, guys. Well, I'm at home, and I've been on for almost 30 minutes now. That's the consensus. I'm usually on about 30 minutes. I do this 3 times a week, or at least I try. I didn't do a video on Monday because Monday was a holiday, so I didn't do a ride home with me. I didn't even do it at home with me video. I got busy yesterday building a barbecue grill that we went shopping for yesterday, and it seems like every time we get a grill, I get roped into building it for some reason, or putting it together, assembling it. But anyway, that's over with. But you guys have a good day. If you didn't subscribe, please do. If you feel like it, if you don't, it's no big deal. Just remember, again, when you guys come in, feel free to just say hello. I'll give you a shout out for nothing. It won't cost you a thing. And you guys take it easy. Oh, we got a viewer. It's going to come in at the very last minute. Hello, viewer. I hate to do this to you, but I am signing off. If you want to subscribe, like, or whatever people do these days, or put your name in there, or just say hello, I'll give you a shout out real quick. No? Okay. All right, well, you guys take it easy. I'm at home. My video is over for the day, and we'll see you guys another time. I'll be back probably tomorrow afternoon. Since I didn't do one, I usually do this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And you know, today is Tuesday, so since I didn't do a video yesterday, I did one today instead. But you know, to stay on my regular schedule, I will be doing a video tomorrow around the same time, actually a little earlier. I start my videos at I'll be starting at about 2:30 Central Time in the United States. So if you're out of country, I'm sorry, I don't know what time it is where you're at, but it's 3:08 p.m. Central Time here. All right, guys, take it easy. We'll talk to you again soon. Have a good one.